Manchester United fans. I'm not even going to sugarcoat anything today. I am completely disappointed. My heart is heavy, my head is hot, and honestly, I cannot hide how frustrated I am. And I'm putting this straight, I hold Amarim responsible for this draw. How on earth do you try to see out a game at Old Trafford with just a one-goal lead against a West Ham team sitting right at the bottom of the table? This is the exact kind of situation where you kill the game, where you step on their necks, where you show dominance, and yet, for reasons I will never understand, he chose to sit back and gamble with a fragile lead. I've said this many times, Amorim's in-game management is zero. You're leading 1-0, you're in control, and then you remove your striker and bring on a midfielder? For what? To invite pressure? To encourage West Ham to come at us? And guess what? They did exactly that. They pressed us, they grew in confidence, and boom, they got their equalizer. Just when we thought we were climbing straight into the top 5, just when we thought momentum was finally shifting, we somehow find a way to mess it all up again. And that's the thing, this team always finds a way to make life difficult for us. Always. I said it immediately after the Crystal Palace win, watch this team still find a way to drop points. And look, here we are. If we cannot beat Everton with 10 men, if we cannot beat West Ham, a team in the relegation zone, in our own stadium while holding a one-goal lead, then who exactly are we supposed to beat? We're not facing Arsenal, we're not facing City, we're not facing Liverpool. These were supposed to be the manageable games. I said it clearly, our next 10 fixtures starting from Everton were against smaller opponents, and this was where we needed to pick up points. But what have we done? 1 loss, 1 win, and 1 draw. And the loss and draw both came at Old Trafford. In front of our own fans. This is unacceptable. This is a disgrace. Why are we removing our striker to defend a 1-0 lead against West Ham at home? Why are we playing scared football inside the theatre of dreams? This is the kind of decision that gets managers sacked. And the sad part? It is becoming a pattern. We score, and immediately relax. We take our foot off the gas. We invite pressure until we crumble. It is the same story every season, and it is tiring. We had momentum. We had the tempo. We had the control. All we needed was to push forward and get the second goal. But instead, the coach changed the rhythm of the match with a terrible substitution. The players fought, no doubt, but the coach killed this game. And it's not the first time, not the second, not even the third this season. These decisions keep costing us points. I cannot lie, I am absolutely disappointed in Amarim today. And even if you felt the striker wasn't doing enough, even if he wasn't having his best game, his presence alone keeps the opposition honest. A striker standing up there forces defenders to stay back, forces midfielders to think twice before fully committing forward. It stops the opponent from throwing the kitchen sink at you. But the moment you removed him, you basically sent West Ham an invitation, come forward, attack us, we have nothing up front to threaten you. And they accepted that invitation immediately. This is not new, his substitutions have been costing us goals all season, and it keeps happening again and again. You could literally see the players dropping deeper, sitting back more, losing control, and as the coach, that is where you step in. That is where you shout at them to push the tempo, increase the pressure, take the game back to the opponent. But what did Amarim do? Instead of lifting the team, he doubled down on the sit-back approach by removing the striker for a midfielder. That one decision completely shifted the momentum in West Ham's favour. And here is the part that truly frustrates me, if your striker is injured or not available, why not put Chidi Obi on the bench? Why not at least have a striker option available? Because when you remove a striker, the logical thing is to replace him with another striker. Not a midfielder. Not someone whose job is to defend a lead. You don't protect a 1-0 lead at Old Trafford, you go for the second goal, you go for the kill, you end the match. But instead, we removed our only threat up front, weakened our press, weakened our transition, and practically begged West Ham to come forward. And they did, and we paid the price. There is no excuse for that kind of decision-making. Not at this level. Not for a club like Manchester United. We actually started this game on the front foot, pressing West Ham high, trying to dictate the tempo, and keeping good possession just like we usually do at Old Trafford, but even from the opening minutes you could see that something wasn't right, because despite all the early energy, we couldn't create anything meaningful. West Ham sat back with a clear plan: stay compact, block every channel, absorb pressure, and then explode forward on the counter whenever we left even a little bit of space. And that game plan worked so well that we looked confused, disconnected, and completely short of ideas. Every time we tried to play through them, they cut off passing lanes. Every time we tried to move the ball quickly, they closed the gaps instantly. And embarrassingly, they even looked more threatening than us in those early moments. Casemiro was basically our emergency shield, putting his body on the line over and over again, making blocks, stepping into duels, saving us from making things worse. We were losing all the midfield battles, second balls, loose balls, everything. It felt like every bounce fell to them. They grew more confident, they pushed forward, and they had more attempts on goal while we were stuck trying to find rhythm. The performance was painfully similar to the Crystal Palace first half, where we just couldn't get going. And once again, Zirkzee's struggles played a massive part. Just like against Palace, he couldn't hold up the play at the beginning. He wasn't winning those first duels, he wasn't keeping the ball under pressure, and because of that the entire team structure fell apart. When your striker can't hold the ball, the whole setup collapses, your midfield gets isolated, your wingbacks can't advance, your attackers can't find space, and you end up forcing low-quality passes that get intercepted. That's exactly what happened. We couldn't string 3 passes together, we kept losing possession cheaply, and there was just no progression at all. It was shocking to see how much low-quality football we were playing compared to the sharp, confident starts we had earlier in the season. Suddenly, in our last 3 matches, the same problem keeps repeating: slow starts, poor passing, lack of connection, and a total breakdown in tempo. It took us until the 23rd minute to even win our first corner. That alone tells you everything about how slow and flat our start was. But ironically, that corner actually gave us our first shot on target, and it lifted the entire team. It was like that one moment unlocked something psychologically, because right after that we finally started creating chances. We began pushing West Ham back, taking more risks, combining better in the final third, and forcing their defenders into last-minute recoveries. If not for their incredible defensive blocks, literally players throwing their bodies at every shot, we would have scored in the 27th minute. But that's the thing with this team lately, it's like we're waiting for something to motivate us before we start playing real football. West Ham's defense were working like warriors, blocking everything, clearing danger after danger, and making sure none of our chances turned into goals. And then suddenly, the tide turned, because Zirkzee finally woke up. The moment he started playing better, everything changed. He dropped deep and held the ball, he won duels, he linked up with midfielders, he allowed our wingbacks to push forward, and he started dragging West Ham's defenders out of position. I've always said this: when your striker plays well in this system, the whole team plays well. The striker is not just there to score, he is the foundation of our possession, the anchor that allows others to rotate, move, and attack. When he can't hold up the ball, the whole structure dies. When he can hold up the ball, the whole team comes alive. That is exactly what happened. Suddenly we were progressing the ball quicker, combining smoothly, creating space, playing through the lines, and putting West Ham under real pressure for the first time. And honestly, if not for their goalkeeper making outrageous saves and their defenders blocking shots like their lives depended on it, we could easily have been 2 goals up before half-time. We created enough good chances, we had enough momentum, and we finally looked like Manchester United again, but the ball just refused to hit the back of the net. And after all that hard work, all the momentum swings, all the late chances, the first half still finished goalless, a half where we started flat, woke up late, dominated the closing stages, but couldn't find that breakthrough goal we desperately needed. Then the second half kicked off, and you could immediately see that we were still chasing that opener with real hunger. The team came out with urgency, trying to correct the slow start from the first half, trying to impose themselves on West Ham, and trying to break the deadlock as quickly as possible. We kept pushing, we kept probing their defense, and the energy suddenly felt different. The passes were sharper, the runs were clearer, and the crowd started getting involved. You could feel that something was coming. And thankfully, it didn't take too long before we finally got the breakthrough we were desperately waiting for. In the 58th minute, out of nowhere, Diogo Dallow, a man who has been criticized, questioned, analyzed over and over again, picked up the perfect moment to write his own script. He reacted quicker than everyone, he was at the right space, he stayed switched on, and he put the ball into the back of the net with real confidence. Right place, right time, right execution. That goal came from pure positional intelligence. And this is exactly what this formation demands. This is what I've been shouting about every single week. The wingbacks are the heartbeat, the engine, the real attacking threat of this setup. They are not supposed to just stay deep and recycle possession, they are supposed to stretch the pitch, exploit space, make runs behind defenders, create chances, and even score goals. When the wingbacks are alive, this entire system comes alive. And today, Dallow and Amarim showed exactly what it should look like. Both of them were heavily involved, both were pushing forward aggressively, both were brave on the ball, and both were constantly adding numbers to our attack. That is the energy we have been begging for all season, and it finally delivered us the opener. But after the goal, just as we predicted, West Ham came out again. That's what every opponent does when they concede, especially those fighting at the bottom of the table. They pushed bodies forward, they increased their tempo, and they started testing our shape. But we handled it well at first. We kept a compact midfield block, we controlled the central areas, and we started hitting them on the counter repeatedly. It was actually working. They left space, and we were using it. This is how you manage a one-goal lead, by keeping them on the back foot, not by sitting deep and inviting pressure. But then, out of nowhere, Amarim decided to make the one substitution that changed the entire rhythm of the match. A substitution that destroyed our momentum. A substitution that completely flipped the game in West Ham's favour. He removed our striker and replaced him with a midfielder. And from that exact moment, everything collapsed. We stopped counter-attacking. We stopped holding the ball up. We stopped stretching the pitch. We stopped threatening them. Instead, we began dropping deeper and deeper and deeper until we were practically defending inside our own box. And when you defend that deep for that long, especially at Old Trafford, where you should never be playing scared football, it becomes only a matter of time before the opposition finds a way. And that's exactly what happened. We kept absorbing pressure we didn't need to absorb. We kept letting them come forward again and again because removing the striker meant there was no outlet. No one to hold possession higher up. No one to keep their defenders honest. No one to force them to stay back. We handed them control on a silver platter. And eventually, they won a corner, the kind of corner that comes from sustained pressure, pressure that we allowed them to build, and they scored. Simple. Predictable. Avoidable. I don't blame the players for that goal at all. They fought. They defended the way they were instructed. They did everything the game plan demanded once the coach changed the structure. But I will blame the coach every single day for this one. Because the wrong substitution killed our momentum. The wrong substitution forced us to retreat instead of pushing forward. The wrong substitution invited West Ham to attack us with everything they had. And the coach failed again to tell the players to keep that same high tempo, that same aggression, that same intensity that gave us the lead in the first place. This equalizer wasn't bad luck. It wasn't individual error. It was poor game management, again. Let's take a moment to acknowledge the players, because despite the disappointment today, many of them genuinely gave everything on that pitch. There are performances that deserve respect, and the first name I have to mention is Casemiro. Casemiro was absolutely immense. He was fighting for every single ball, winning tackles, covering spaces, and doing the job of almost two players at once. One moment he was helping the midfield recover possession, the next moment he was inside our own box blocking shots and protecting the defense. He made several crucial blocks, won so many important duels, and helped us maintain control in tight moments. This was one of his most complete performances this season, and he kept us in the game. Mazraoui also played really well. I've said it before, we have missed what Mazraoui brings to this team, and today you could clearly see the difference. He and Luke Shaw were constantly pushing the ball forward, supporting the attack, helping with crosses, and even creating chances. You can see the confidence he gives us when progressing play. Unlike Euro, who sometimes hesitates, Mazraoui is always scanning the pitch, always looking for runners like Mbeumo, always ready to send those long, intelligent passes into dangerous spaces. He helped us keep possession, he helped us build attacks, and he gave the team that extra bit of bravery and quality from the back. And then there's Amad. Amad was simply brilliant today. He was a nightmare for the West Ham defenders from start to finish. So many of our best moments came through him. His one-on-one ability was incredible, he was sharp, he was brave, and he was constantly creating chances. Every time he got on the ball you could feel the danger. In fact, he was the most threatening player on the entire pitch, always trying to make something happen and pushing the team forward.